One in my past life, my family planned to take my little brother camping in the mountains, leaving me at home. I was so jealous. I begged my parents to let me come along, but they only cared about their precious son and pushed me aside. I ended up kneeling on the ground, letting my brother ride on my back for 100 laps. I even laid down in the trunk, so I'd be allowed to go camping with them. When we got to the mountain, my brother wanted to ride on my back again. My knees were already red and swollen from the rocky ground, so I refused. He threw a fit and told on me, and my parents beat me until they broke my legs. That very night, a massive storm hit, causing a volcanic eruption and a landslide. Dad drove off with Mom and my brother, leaving me behind. I was swallowed by the mudslide. In this life, I tossed my brother off my back. He held his head and cried, "You're a meanie. You're not coming to the mountains with us." I nodded with a smile, "Have fun. This time around, some folks are going to pay." I was on my knees, supporting myself with my hands on the ground. My brother slapped my back, shouting, "Move, donkey." I was thrilled to find myself back on the day we were supposed to go camping. In my last life, my parents wanted to take my brother camping. I was desperate to go too, but they refused to take me. I promised them I'd do anything if they'd let me join. My brother made a demand. "You can come if you let me ride on your back for 100 laps around the house." Kneeling and crawling 100 laps was tough, but I longed to travel with my parents. Plus, I didn't want to be home alone. Our creepy neighbor would knock, saying he wanted to rock me to sleep. So I let my brother ride on my back. When we were leaving, my brother said there was no room for me. I offered to ride in the trunk, and got to the mountain. Unexpectedly, my brother wanted to ride on my back again. The rocky ground made my swollen knees unbearable, and I said no. For refusing his unreasonable request, my brother cried, and my parents beat me until my legs broke. That night, the storm hit, causing a landslide. I tried to run with my injured legs. Dad sped by in the car, making eye contact through the rearview mirror. The malice in his eyes hurt me deeply. As the mudslide engulfed me, any remaining affection I had for my parents and brother vanished. Love and indifference were clear. I never expected to be reborn. Since I've come back, I need to protect myself, and some people are going to pay. I tossed my brother off my back and smacked him a few times while he was still stunned from falling. He cried, holding his face and head, "You hit me. You're not coming to the mountains with us." He got up, trying to tell on me. I kicked him down again. "Dad, Mom, Judy is beating me up." My parents came out of the room. Dad's suitcase hit me on the forehead. It hurt. "Is this how a sister acts? Bullying your brother? When your in-laws bully you, don't come crying to us. We won't help." My head spun, blood trickled down my forehead, and Mom held me still, forcing me to stand. "Apologize to Scout." I slowly apologized, looking at my brother's smug face. He spat on my foot and laughed. My parents laughed too. In the end, my brother ordered, "Stay home and watch my pet cockroach. You're not coming camping with us." I nodded, "All right, have fun." My brother thrust his pet cockroach into my hands. Holding back my disgust, I took it. He taunted, "Eat it, and I'll let you come camping." He wasn't serious about letting me go. He just wanted to make me eat the cockroach. I didn't want to go camping. To avoid suspicion that I didn't want to go, I pretended to be unfazed. I raised the cockroach to my face. "I could eat it, but you want me to come camping to carry you to the top? You're weak, like a chicken. Even the girls in your class could knock you over." The elementary school kid stomped his foot, refusing to let me come along. So I made him mad. He finally said, "I'll climb to the top, just watch. Don't underestimate me." I held the cockroach to my mouth. "Send me a picture when you're at the top. If you do, I'll eat this cockroach." He agreed, promising he'd do it. I was the only one knowing that last time, we didn't make it to the top due to my parents beating me halfway up, taking up time to escape the mudslide. This time, they won't be so lucky. "Watch out, brother." My brother told everyone about camping and our bet. Relatives, friends, and neighbors knew I'd eat a cockroach if he made it to the top. They all had a good laugh at my expense. Creepy Uncle Bob came by, smiling weirdly. "Judy, you shouldn't eat cockroaches. Uncle would be sad." He reached to pat my head. His hint of a touch made me break into a cold sweat. I dodged. When he tried again, I brushed him off. Dad saw, scolding, "Uncle Bob is comforting you. Why are you being difficult? Bob laughed. It's okay. Judy's fiery and unique. I like her. He tried patting my head again. This time, I couldn't get away because Dad held me down. Bob patted my hair and pinched the back of my neck, laughing so hard his eyes nearly disappeared into slits. I got goosebumps all over. Bob had tried to get close to me before, and I'd poked him in the eyes in response. When my parents found out, they didn't have my back and instead scolded me. How many years of school have you been through to learn to slander people like this? Your uncle is just being affectionate. Why is your mind so dirty? Go and apologize. I refused to apologize and argued back. Why should I say sorry to someone who hurt me? I'm not apologizing, but I got beaten up, and that was the worst time. My face was covered in blood, and I was dragged by my collar to apologize to Bob. Bob was afraid I'd cause trouble and involve the cops, so he asked my parents to ease up. To them, he seemed like the bigger person for not making a fuss, which only made their relationship with him closer. Judy, aren't you afraid? Why not come over to my place tonight? Bob's voice brought me back to the moment. No, I'm not going, I replied. Dad chuckled. Bob, don't worry about this stubborn girl. I planned to come back early from camping, but seeing how full of herself she is, I decided we'll camp for 4 or 5 days. Let's see if her attitude changes when we get back. Don't worry about her. If she gets hungry, let her starve. Bob laughed happily. We're all family. Don't say that. I laughed too. 4 or 5 days of camping. They're definitely not coming back. Dad started the car, with Mom in the passenger seat, and my little brother in the back. They finally left. My brother stuck his head out and stuck his tongue at me, just like in the past when they left me during the mudslide. This time, I waved them goodbye joyfully. On their way, I went back inside, locked the door, and happily lay on the couch for a nap. Waking up later, I found several messages in the family group chat from Mom. We've reached the mountains. The air is so fresh. You guys should come if you get the chance. Mom was showing off to my aunt. But my aunt is no pushover. She replied with a family photo Mom sent. Your favoritism towards boys is bad. Such old-fashioned thinking causes so much trouble. Mom vented to me. Tell her it was you who didn't want to come. I didn't respond, just to annoy Mom. This way, she'd feel even more pressured to counterattack by taking better photos on the mountaintop. Sure enough, the journey to the peak was supposed to take more than an hour, but they made it in half the time. Mom sent gorgeous photos to the group, taunting. Just because Judy doesn't come means I favor boys. I suggest you get out more and see more of the world. My aunt, enraged, shot back. You have such a big mouth. I hope your whole family falls off a cliff and dies. A full-blown argument had started. I just sat back, invisibly watching the show. Mom messaged me. They're walking all over me, but you won't help. Okay, you're someone else's daughter. Tonight you'll be so scared being alone at home. Let Bob come and teach you a lesson. Mom knew I was afraid and still sent Bob to scare me, which showed how little I mattered to her. Even knowing what Bob was like, they'd sacrifice me rather than confront him, a public official. Yeah, my parents just choose to abandon me. I checked the time. The blast was near. I video called Mom, thinking it was an apology. She ranted. Now you want to apologize. Where were you before? I paused. Actually, I'm not apologizing. Mom casually asked, so, what do you want? I smiled at her through the screen. I came to see you make a fool of yourself. She chuckled. We'll see tonight who gets the last laugh. After the call, I was left in doubt. Did she have a backup plan? Were they coming back early from the mountain? Could they avoid the mudslide so easily? I contacted my brother. He boastfully told me to get ready to eat bugs in a few days, without a word about coming back. I felt relieved yet anxious. The only one I could think of was our neighbor, Bob. Night fell, and Bob showed up. As before, he lightly knocked. Judy, it's me. I made something tasty for you. Open up. I stayed silent, waiting for him to leave. But the next second, the lock turned. Bob had the spare key, the one Mom and Dad told him about. This was what Mom meant by watching my joke unfold. She wanted to see me humiliated. What a caring mother. Then we'll all perish together. I shouted into my phone, loud and clear. Officer, please help me. Bob smirked. Oh, you like role play? Do YA. Kids love games. I'll be the cop. You be the little thief. How about that? Bob had no idea what he was about to face. I had already called the police when he knocked. I knew it'd be tough without video proof. So when Bob rushed at me, I turned on the phone camera. I ran to the phone while recording, capturing everything he did. Evidence is solid. As Bob was being taken away, he kept protesting, "No, I wouldn't hurt a middle schooler. Her family went on vacation and asked me to check in on her. I'm here because they asked. I even brought her food. You guys, as police officers, shouldn't just ignore logic. I want a lawyer. I'm going to report you. You're making mistakes left and right. Just because she's a kid doesn't mean you should bully an adult like me. Are you even listening? Her parents gave me the key. I didn't go and make a copy on purpose. Bob's gonna pay for what he did. Losing his job and getting almost 10 years in jail is what he deserves." After finishing with my statement at the police station, I stepped outside. It was raining, and there were thunderstorms in the distance. Great, the storm of the century has finally arrived. I rushed home, showered, and cleaned myself up thoroughly. Just as I finished, my phone buzzed. It was my brother calling. He mockingly congratulated me. "I heard you've become a woman now. Congrats, congrats. What a great chance. Now you can skip school and just go straight to getting married and having kids. Even though Bob's just a greasy dude in his 30s, you're lucky he likes you." Ha, this news excites me more than you eating cockroaches. Now, it'll just be me at home, getting all of Dad and Mom's attention. Yay, can't wait. In the video, a huge lightning bolt struck down near my brother, knocking over a tree. "Whoa, that was close. That tree nearly got me," I sarcastically remarked, scared. "Huh, what a coward." My brother, in his smug tone, replied, "I'm not scared." Mom brought over seafood porridge for him and looked at my damp hair over the phone. "Hey, were you and Bob just taking a shower together? He promised a bride price of $30,000. Marrying him means you'll be well off, you know." Boom. A huge thunderclap lit up the night sky. The drizzle turned into a torrential downpour, nearly blowing Mom off her feet. In the chaos, she disconnected the video call. Now, the real show begins. Dad looked at the fallen trees and made a decision. Quick, quick, we need to leave. This storm is too much." My brother, still eating and recording the storm, said, "Dad, why are you scared?" "You're never scared. It's exciting. We can't leave. I need to show Judy. She'll be so impressed." Mom was caught between her husband and son, but eventually persuaded Dad, "The storm's too strong. It's not safe to drive right now. The car could get swept away. Let's wait until it calms down." "Okay." Dad reluctantly agreed. My brother sent me footage of the storm. "See that? Isn't it thrilling? Too bad you won't see this. Scared a cat." What an optimist. I played along. Catch more on camera. It's awesome. "You are my brother, after all. I'll follow your lead." My brother joyfully sent a laughing voice message. "Ha ha ha. You better not follow me. You're dirty now, not as pure as me. Only a true pure heart can keep up with me." Still a little smart-mouthed, I praised him some more, grabbed ice cream, and watched a variety show. I should have been studying, but I was too happy to focus. After the show, my phone blew up. "Judy, we can't get back. The car's been blown into a ditch. Get Bob to drive and pick us up." Are you ignoring my messages, or are you off enjoying yourself again? Why is Bob at the police station? Did you report him? Why would you do that? How are we supposed to face people now? I replied, "You can't face them anyways." Just after replying, a video call came in. Of course, I picked it up. How else would I enjoy watching their predicament? In the video, Dad was carrying my brother, and along with Mom, the three were floating in murky water. My brother was freaking out, yelling, "Hurry up, Dad, you're too slow." Dad, red-faced with anger, shouted back, "I told you to leave earlier, but no, you wouldn't listen. Now you're complaining we're slow. Swim yourself if you're so eager." My brother mumbled sheepishly, "I can't swim." Dad yelled, "Then shut that mouth of yours. You're a pain." Mom commanded, "Judy, find someone to come get us." I played dumb. "It's late. I need my sleep." Who am I supposed to find? Can't you guys just call 911? Why not call the police? Dad and Mom were at a loss for words. I knew they wouldn't call because they feared being implicated in Bob's case. Dad firmly said, "Cut the crap. Send help and the marriage with Bob is off. I'll return the bride price he paid. Otherwise, we'll testify that you two were engaged. He won't go to jail. What's it gonna be? Get help or marry Bob. You don't want to be tied to Bob at your age. Do you? My brother also chimed in, bargaining. Save me and I won't make you eat bugs. I laughed. You're practically drowning and still trying to cut deals. Who's drowning? Who's drowning? Mom yelled, almost throwing the phone. Mind your language. Just then, a rumbling explosion sounded. The mountainside gave way. Boulders tumbled down the hill. My brother yelled in terror, I don't want to die. I'm only 8. There's so much fun left to have. A powerful wave washed over him, pulling him into the mudslide. Dad, Mom, help me, help me. Dad and Mom were swept away, trying desperately to reach my brother. Without hesitation, they turned back. For once again, a mudslide came rushing down, pushing my parents even farther away. For a few seconds, they were both buried, but they were determined to find my little brother, to save him. Scout, my boy, where are you? Speak up, my son. Obviously, the only reply they got was the sound of rain, thunder, and the mountain collapsing. At that moment, my mom, who had held back tears until now, broke down crying. My son, poor you, why can't you swim? My brother couldn't handle hardships. He never seriously learned how to swim, but I did. My parents hadn't planned to teach me how to swim. It was only because my brother made me go with him and then pushed me into the pool. I flailed around desperately, almost drowning. The moment I was rescued, I vowed to learn swimming properly. I collected bottles, saved up a few $100, and enrolled in some classes to learn. When my brother tried to mock me again, he found out I had learned and left me alone about it. I snapped back to reality, hearing my mom saying, Scout, my boy, I wish it was me who died, not you. Don't worry, everyone will be gone soon. My parents stood on a rocky ledge, covered in mud and dirt. Judy, wait till we get back, you'll see. Your brother is gone, and you shouldn't live either. It's your fault our son died. I went to my parents' room, put on some gold jewelry, and said, we'll talk about it when you come back. My mom screamed, don't touch my gold, you're filthy. Get your dirty hands off. Do they still have energy to yell at me? I watched as another wave of mudslides came, hearing their screams, and suddenly the ledge was empty. My parents were thrown off. They tried desperately to run, swim, pull themselves up, but it was useless. In the face of an apocalypse, humans are tiny. My mom was engulfed, her hands weakly raising and sinking. Whose husband, please help. I can't go on. My dad glanced back and then turned around, running harder. My mom was speechless. Her face fell, mouth opening as if asking why. Why didn't he save her? I watched her hand struggle for a few seconds. Then she was swallowed up by the mudslide, gone. The phone video cut off. Everything I saw felt so familiar, like I had lived it before. I knew no one could survive that. My dad was missing, so I assumed he was gone too. But 2 hours later, he called me. He had been washed towards a cliff and landed in a crevice, a small space where one misstep could send him falling. Judy, save me please. Now your mom and brother are gone, it's just us. We're all we have. Let's forget the past. I'll treat you well from now on. I interrupted, forget it all. No way, I don't want to forget. Dad pleaded, all my savings are yours, everything, if you come save me. I chuckled, if you die, it all belongs to me anyway. Dad cried hard. His tears blurred his vision, and he had no hands free to wipe them. We got a message in the family chat from Aunt, sarcastically saying, Sister-in-law, it's raining so hard. You okay? Don't slip off a cliff. Dad remembered the relatives and asked Aunt for help. Little sister, drive over to pick us up. I'll send the address. Aunt replied, me, a hillbilly, pick you up. I don't have a car. Dad broke down. Little sister, stop fighting with your sister-in-law. She's gone now. Aunt instinctively replied with ha ha ha, then quickly deleted it. This back and forth stirred up everyone in the chat. What's going on? What happened? You okay? How's Scout? Dad sent a voice message, crying for help. No one replied to help. They said unrelated things. So scary. What bad luck. Condolences. Who could have expected this? Dad's last message was, whoever saves me gets my house. Silence followed. No one responded. Dad turned to me, trying to guilt me in the chat. Judy, get a car and pick me up. You're my daughter, it's your duty. If you don't come, you're the murderer, and our family won't forgive you. Now he wanted me to risk my life too. The silent elders chimed in. As a daughter, you're obligated to save your dad. If you don't, you'll never be on the family register, not even when you're dead. Dad was probably hopeful. I messaged back, boo-hoo, I'm scared. Dad thought I might agree. Don't be scared, just come. I left the chat, deleted and blocked all these toxic relatives, out of sight, out of mind. Dad died. His final message cursed me, saying he was glad he mistreated me. It helped him accept my refusal to save him. Unbelievable. I just knew I could live well from now on. Those who harmed me are gone, either dead or incarcerated. But I knew I couldn't stay here long. So I got a realtor to help sell the house. When they brought the buyer, I was stunned. It was my uncle and aunt. They walked around the house, looked around, then held my hand. Nice house. Sell it cheap. We're relatives, right? Let's sign the contract in front of the agent. No more ties. They wanted it cheap, only offering 50 grand. My home is a 110 square meter 3-bedroom apartment, and just the renovation alone cost more than 50,000 yuan. I refused to sell it. My aunt, hands on her hips, yelled, "Your dad bought this house with your grandparents' money. Their money should be split with our family too. So our family should have a share of this house. You can't be without a home in the future. We'll give you 50,000 yuan, and let you continue living here without charging rent. Isn't that great?" I firmly disagreed. The real estate agent also told me, "A person died in this house, it's hard to sell." The agent had been bribed. Selling a house worth 500,000 to 600,000 for 50,000 is ridiculous. I kicked my uncle and aunt out and decided to find another agent to sell the house. That night, someone knocked on the door. I asked who it was, but got no answer. I asked again, and they said they were the realtor here to see the house. Visits are always scheduled by phone in advance, so this wasn't the agent. I didn't open the door. They ended up calling a locksmith, who took dirty money to open the door. My uncle and aunt walked in, grinning, and pulled out a contract for me to sign. "You said 50,000 was too little, now we're offering 100,000. That's not little, and we'll let you live here for free until you go to college." I refused to sign. They held me down to force my fingerprint on it. They grabbed the contract with my fingerprint, cheering. But police were waiting for them. "We were just signing a contract. This is a normal process. Why are we being arrested? Let me go, let me go." My uncle was more anxious. They both thought having my fingerprint made it legit. In his excitement, he assaulted an officer. I showed the recording I had, clearly proving I was forced to sign. It was invalid. Both my uncle and aunt committed illegal entry, and the locksmith was arrested too. Later, the house finally sold. I went to a boarding school for my studies, leaving this place for good. Much later, when my uncle and aunt reached out again, I cursed them out. Bob's family also tried harassing me, and I told them off too. I focused on my studies and finally achieved the dreams I couldn't in my previous life. My future is long and beautiful.